Hello and welcome to Amateur Hour 31. The Hero Games and Farmegeddon are upon us. Guys, how are we doing?
Great.
Doing pretty good.
How about yourself?
I'm getting a little sad that we're on the last week of the regular season of college football. It never lasts long enough, man.
No, flies by.
A lot of BS on that, but I would say, of course, that's going to be the end of everyone's favorite part of college football is my trivia questions I come up with for the pod each week. So
yeah,
I'm sorry, everyone. I would say only a few more weeks, so remember to cherish it here. But this one, sorry, I would say since it is rivalry week, I tried to theme it a little bit, and there's a couple of them that I have here. The first one is I want you to name the teams that are involved with these rivalry games. First one, I wanted to make it easy. Egg Bowl.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss.
Yes, sir. How about good old-fashioned hate?
I don't know. I have no idea. You know, Dave?
Probably like a Florida, Tennessee, or something like that.
Right region.
Florida.
I would say it does involve an SEC team.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Two SEC teams.
One SEC.
Just
team.
one. Florida State.
Close.
Because that's this weekend.
Georgia,
Florida,
Tech.
Miami.
What's that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Florida.
Georgia Tech on that one. And this one, this one I think is the hardest, but Land of Lincoln Trophy.
Illinois and Northwestern?
Wow. Well, Land of Lincoln, I think we all knew was Illinois. I'm surprised you got it on the first bet. It's right there. I never heard of that until I was looking up rivalries. The Land of Lincoln Trophy.
Nothing compares to Farmegeddon.
That is very true. Now, I would say the fun thing with a lot of these trophies that I think is you got the bucket of nails, little brown jug. Even the Cyhawks got a very distinct trophy, Floyd Rosedale. The bonus question I have for you is: do you know how many rivalries involve winning the victory bell?
Trent, you can answer because I saw the answer on the agenda.
Oh, you did? I did not.
Yeah.
Dave, you cheater.
I didn't cheat. I was reading the other rivalries.
10.
No, not that many. It was 4.
4? Okay.
It was Duke, North Carolina, USC, UCLA. Doesn't matter, but I was like, usually it's something very distinct. There's 4 just victory bells out there, and there's 2 victory trophies. And I was shocked because with the Michigan teams, there's a Paul Bunyan axe and Paul Bunyan trophy.
Okay.
There's a lot of common trophies out there like that. So
the axe is cool.
Yeah, no, I would say they're all. I would say that's what makes college football great. All these little, someone outside they see sports ball and they see someone holding an axe. It's no, that's Paul Bunyan's axe.
What's it's Purdue and Indiana, the old oaken bucket.
What's that, Dave?
I think the axe is probably one of the coolest ones out there. Out of a lot of the trophies that you get to see, and from what I remember on NCAA football, they'd always show that little picture of it, and I always felt like the axe was a pretty cool one.
I always remember the old oaken bucket. I had to look it up, see who it was. It's Indiana and Purdue.
But I was looking at some of them, and some of them it doesn't even feel like it's a rivalry, or it's a rivalry from the 20s to 50s and just never kept up. One of them is the Elia Buck Trophy. It's Illinois and Ohio State. It's I don't even associate them with with the divisions. They're separate. I don't even think of that.
No. The old telephone trophy with Iowa State and Missouri.
Yeah, everyone else just sees a stupid-ass half-red, half-yellow telephone. But we know the telephone trophy. We need to win that thing back, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
they should. We played in basketball last year. They should have put it up for basketball.
See, I wish we'd find a way to keep trading it. Otherwise, it just stays in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
So, But we'll jump into it because I know honestly last time we ran a little long. We were dinking around here, but obviously playoffs. There hasn't been too much changes overall. The biggest one is going to be Washington finally jumping into the top four there. Little Iowa, they're staying in at 17. They got jumped. I think it was Arizona was the one that jumped ahead of them. They've kind of
Yeah.
been moving forth around the top though.
I like Washington the most. I've been on that train this whole season. Finally getting into the top four. I know this is the football playoff rankings, but even in the AP poll, like I don't know what they are in that. Maybe they're the same, but I feel like that's the most deserving out of it. I mean, they're finally getting. I feel like they're finally catching on to people. Like, hey, this Washington team is way better, way more than we thought they were. You know.
Yeah, they moved up to 4 in the AP too.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was happy with that. Unfortunately, I think some of that's Florida State's quarterback injury, but
Yep.
I like you said, I mean, you beat Oregon, you beat Oregon State. I mean, they beat Arizona, which is now number 15 in the country. They have a lot of quality wins. I mean, it's deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And in Arizona, didn't they just who did they just beat the tar out of the other day?
Utah.
Utah, yeah.
Yeah, they beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, who saw that?
18.
Yeah, who saw Arizona being this good and 15th in the country?
When we did our like mid-season awards, I was talking about that freshman quarterback because I was just trying to be quirky, and he had a couple good games versus good opponents. Like, okay, let's see him like shit the bed. He's been carrying them, dude. I'm even shocked when I've been like actively watching them after I watched that triple overtime game from the second half all the way until USC finally pulled it out, and they had something. But usually it's you know I don't know. Everyone thought Utah was just going to run things, and they came in. Arizona is coming in much hotter than Utah. They're still going to be solid. I'll be honest, we've said it so many times. I'm pumped for the Big 12 next year. There are going to be so many good teams. Even Arizona State with their young coach, they're going to be exciting. Colorado, well, if Deion's still there, Colorado is going to be exciting. We're bringing in 4 quality football teams, dude.
And yeah, well, you mentioned it, Colorado, that they lose again. Man, just hate to see it.
They've only won like 4 times this year, right?
They've lost their last 7, I think.
Yeah.
Or last 6. I can't remember. So they've lost. They might have lost 6 out of 7.
It's been a rough stretch to say the least. But I mean, anything in the playoff picture. I mean, right now we know it's going to decide. It's going to be this weekend, Ohio State, Michigan. But I mean, with right now how it's going to break down at the end of the year, are you okay with Oregon, Texas, Alabama being the order?
Yeah, I like.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, in Texas ahead of Alabama. I mean, Texas won the head-to-head, so I'm okay with that.
See,
the thing I think is kind of odd is number 23. That's my biggest like. I feel like Tulane's been stuck there all year.
No matter what they do.
Yeah, like they could. I feel like they could be like if they played Kansas State, we'll say, or like Oklahoma State and beat them. I feel like they'd still be like at 22, 23. Like
Dave he just hates the group of 5 teams. You hate Liberty at 25 too?
No, I'm just saying. Like I just feel like they've just stayed there the whole year. It's just kind of weird to me.
Do you think they should be ranked higher?
No, I'm just saying. Like I've noticed that I don't think they've gotten past 20 this year.
No.
Yeah, I would say.
Well, I don't even know if they've gotten to 21. Like I feel like they've been in the 22 to 25 range the whole season. I know they don't have a schedule or I don't know what their schedule is, but I think it's just odd that they've been stuck in that bottom few this whole.
If you look at those bottom 5 teams, though, I mean, and don't take this as a knock of Iowa. Iowa's at 17 and they got 2 losses. There's plenty of 3 loss teams ahead of them. Once you get to Tennessee with 4 losses and Clemson with 4 losses, you're just kind of throwing in some names in there to fill out the rest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not gonna say like Iowa deserves 17, but it's kind of neat.
Now,
but at the same time,
Tulane, they're 10-1.
Yeah.
Their only loss is to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Ole Miss is number 12.
Yeah, you got to play who's on your schedule, but
Yep.
they're winning all the games on their schedule as well.
Mm-hmm. And this sounds dumb, and this is just kind of like we've cheered for the small guy here, Trent. I mean, if you like Liberty, it's cool. Hey, you made the top 25 in the playoff rankings. Congrats.
Yep.
They're not going to ever do anything. They're not going to jump them, but you jump anyone at this in the top 10 at all. I don't even know if they beat anyone in the anyone above them, but I wanted to pull out, like, if this was the hypothetical 12-team playoff here, I mean, Texas would be getting almost a gimme there.
Oh, yeah.
With playing Liberty in the first round there. Again, cool for Liberty. They'd be getting the payout for their, helping out their school and everything.
Yep.
But now that we see this kind of getting finalized, like, I think if Tulane was in there, I think they'd have better athletes to compete. But it's like, you see Liberty in there, all of a sudden it's like, I can see why some of these blue bloods hate that there's a guaranteed group of 5 team in there, but
yeah,
you got to mix it up, man.
Yeah, I was just looking at Liberty's schedule too, and again, they're 11-0. I mean, they've won every game, but
yeah,
I don't know. The best team they've played is probably Bowling Green or Buffalo, maybe Western Kentucky.
See, that's the thing, is like they didn't even play like, hey, they're a group of 5 team that's 11-0, and they shocked I mean, did they even play any ACC opponents or anything out there?
No.
See, I mean, that's where this one, let them have it. It's literally just like it's just a good moment for them, but they didn't upset any major team. Actually, New Mexico State is probably one of their better wins.
Yes, for sure. Jerry Kill.
So by proxy, Liberty beat New Mexico State, that just beat Auburn. Auburn has beat, let's see, anyone impressive? Damn it.
No.
Okay. They've lost all the good teams in the SEC. I was hoping to get to Georgia somehow, but not quite. So, I don't know. Honestly, usually we'd spend about another, 5-10 minutes ranting about it. I think the playoff committee has done a pretty good job this year with, we knew that the Michigan-Ohio State one was going to dictate how they're going to go. I think the only thing, and they put up this graphic I'm going to put up on the screen here. They're trying to come up with chaos scenarios on who it would be. I think this is probably the biggest chaos you could have, is Michigan being undefeated with their weaker schedule but beating both tough teams. Ohio State winning all their tough games except for like a close Michigan loss. I mean, if you had this in front of you right now, who gets in?
Yeah, Michigan, Florida State, Texas. I think Texas deserves to be in over Alabama.
Yeah.
And Oregon, because that means
they won against Washington in the championship, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that also means Alabama beat Georgia. I don't know.
I think it would be so impossible for them after they've preached, and this is us always remembering, they've kept Big 12 champions out. They've kept the Big 12 when we didn't have a champion out, and they preached strength of schedule and conference championship. I think you have to choose at least the top 5. Unfortunately, Ohio State, Washington, Georgia would all be out, even though they're all quality teams. And I think Bama is the odd man out, only because they lost to Texas, and Oregon would have avenged a 3-point loss when they were leading due to a bonehead decision by Dan Lanning. Otherwise, they were winning.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I would be happy to see Alabama not in it. So I would gladly take a Michigan, Florida State, Oregon, Big 12. Yeah. Pac-12, Big 12, ACC, and Big 10. Michigan, Florida State, Oregon, and Texas. Like, I'd gladly take that. That'd be kind of fun to watch.
Now Matthews isn't happy with that. He's saying that Oregon hasn't beaten one in the current top 25.
Huh.
So I would say Ryan and Corey, put in your top four in the chat here so we can see it. But I think unfortunately this is kind of where Oregon hasn't played a super tough schedule, but they lost at the right time. They lost a close game early enough in the year where they just beat the shit out of everyone else that they were able to climb. Now, if Oregon would also beat Oregon State at this point this weekend, that would be a top 16 win.
Yep.
And then if they, in this scenario, they would have beat Washington, who's a top 3 or top 4 opponent at that point. Jaeger pointed out, and I agree. Big 12 won't get anyone in no matter what. The committee just absolutely despises our conference, man.
Texas could go 13-0. Nah, don't deserve it.
Well, and think Texas is kind of the same situation as Oregon. They had a game won. They pissed it down their leg, and they gave Oklahoma, I think it was like a minute and a half in that one.
Yep.
And I mean, it was a 3-point loss at a neutral site too.
Yeah.
I guess that's the only difference compared to being at home. But they have that. See, they have the road win versus the SEC champ at that point. I'll get to Corey's up here in a second.
Yep.
Matthews would say Georgia, Michigan, Alabama with Georgia not winning their conference and not playing that tough of a schedule.
I mean, he's probably right. That's what the playoff committee would do.
Playoff committee does have a lot of bias towards the SEC, so I could see that happening as well.
I think they just said the exact same thing, just in a different order.
Same.
These two are.
No, they have Washington. They have Ohio State and Michigan. Corey does.
Oh, that
so
was
same thing, but it's the Big Ten instead of the SEC. Like, yeah.
I was going to say, I thought they were going to be canoodling with one another in the same room if they were coming up with the same lists here.
Yep.
But no, I agree. Unfortunately, this is starting to be a little bit more like who has the money on how they would look at it. But I think if we were going to go by the land of the law that they've tried to lay for the last decade, they'd have to go with the champs in some order. And you could put Bama in over Oregon. I think that would be the only change. What do we know off the top of our head? What was the Alabama loss to Texas? By how many points at home? I think that is the only thing that I can find to turn on the rest of them. Florida State doesn't have their starting quarterback, but
it was,
you know who else didn't?
10 points, 34-24. Texas beat.
And honestly, they were never in that game to begin with.
Yeah.
Or at the end, it wasn't even like a close 10. They knocked in garbage time.
Yeah, it wasn't that close of a game.
But the only argument I could feel is people that are going to say Florida State doesn't deserve to be in because they have their backup quarterback. Ohio State in their first ever playoff had their third string quarterback in, and they won the Natty.
Yeah.
At that point, it doesn't matter who it is, you know.
Yeah, didn't Florida State's quarterback break his leg, I think, out for the season?
Yeah. That was disgusting. I can't believe how many times they showed that replay and on Twitter. Like, I wish I had like an anti-injury, like, I don't know how to explain this without it sounding terrible, but like when there's like porn on Twitter, there's like hey, it's a graphic, here's nudity, don't look at this. I wish they had that, hey, this is a gruesome injury, don't look at this. You have to click to view it, because like my Twitter auto plays a video, so it's like, oh, and there's a foot snapped in half. Disgusting. I don't want to see that.
I think that stuff is cool.
I want a sensor.
As an X-ray tech, I want to see it.
I like it too. I'm not an X-ray tech, but I think it's neat watching it. But if it happened in person in front of me, I'd probably yak on the floor.
Don Play, happy holidays, dude.
Oh, Don Play's back.
Matthews, I don't know. Louisville, I can't quite try. I've watched them a few games, and they win, but it's not a comfortable win. Or if we on the Iowa, we're always under, man.
We are every week. Just bet the under. It hits every week.
Did you see what the under is in the Nebraska game?
Yeah, it's
Horrible.
real low
25 and a half.
It's
25. Like,
oh shoot, I was
last
thinking
week it was
28 again. Okay.
25 and a half.
25.
That's real low. I don't
Oh.
know, Don. That's low.
I haven't put money on it, but like once you start to, it will be Nebraska 3-2. Once you start looking at it, I mean, Iowa, their team total is 12.5 points, and they're supposed to be I'm sorry, they're the underdog. I think they're a 2.5 point underdog in that game. But
How Nebraska is such hot garbage. Iowa's defense without Cooper DeJean is going to hold them to 0 points.
you know who's starting though. Sims isn't playing. It's Chubba Purdy. I guess he's their starter now, but he was the backup last week.
Yeah.
But I mean, speaking of Iowa, let's just jump into it.
Yep.
Dave, Iowa 15, Illinois 13. Illinois covered in the under 33.5 hit. What'd you think of the game?
I thought the running game was pretty good. I mean, for what I saw, I only saw just a little bit of the game. I kind of lost interest a little bit. I was just tired and everything, and it was pretty slow. But I liked the running game a little bit, and then I liked the defense even without Cooper DeJean. They did really. I thought they did excellent without him.
You're saying you're having a tough time staying awake watching an Iowa game?
I didn't take a nap. I just
So you and the rest of America.
I didn't take a nap. I watched it for a little bit, then I just got kind of bored and changed the channel. I was flip flopping between that and another show. So
wasn't it 3-2 at one point?
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
It started 2-0 though.
Yeah, I'm just
they did start with the safety.
Just stop the game here.
You know what the funny thing is? 2-0 safety, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's the game." Everyone was joking that's the game. They won by 2 points. That safety won it for them.
Yeah, Kirk gets up by 2. Just sit on it.
Time to run the clock out.
Pretty much.
Caleb Brown and your running game was looking good though, man. Defense did just as well without Cooper. It was a classic Iowa game.
Yep.
And then the bad is I feel like they were using timeouts as if they were like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, like a lifeline. They were just like, oh, let's call timeout now. Oh, hey, we need another one. It was just it was odd.
That's what Joey put in here in his notes. He said the bad was managing timeouts. Should have cost us the game if Burt wasn't somehow worse than us at clock management. If they go for it on 4th and short, Iowa is shit out of luck because we wasted early timeouts in the second half. So,
yeah,
hit it straight, nail on the head there. He did note in there, and I was watching this at a bar on mute, so I couldn't hear anything. But I did catch them like jumping around, like taking their champagne and spraying it around Bryant and hugging him and everything. They're celebrating him and Joey like they're celebrating him like he was a savior, which is just. I don't doubt that they all got recruited by Bryant and like him. They're not going to openly go against him, but it was just kind of a funny 15 points, and here's the offensive players jumping around celebrating.
Time to pop bottles.
Popping bottles. Let's see I'm seeing if Joey put anything else. Yeah, Deacon looked meh. Caleb and Caleb's show running blocking was looking decent for the first time this year. I mean, that was honestly probably the one thing I did notice is just the line play was what it probably should have been all year in this game.
Yeah, that was for sure what I saw as well. Like the line play was very good, and it was something that was if it all year like that would probably been a little better, a little nicer, but it is what it is.
Yep, and I'm saying you get it into a nice. I won't say an easy win. I think Nebraska is going to give you hell for, they're trying to get to a bowl here, but Iowa should be able to just take care of business in that one.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
So, Let's get it over with, Trent. Texas 26, Iowa State 16. Texas covered. The under a 48.5 hit. I was a little frustrated watching this one right fresh watching it. But once you go back, this one doesn't shock me too much, man.
No.
The talent gap was finally too much where the coaching finally caught up. They always had the talent gap, but the coaching is finally caught up where they caught up and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you here. I mean, it could have been worse too. I mean, Texas had a couple touchdowns called back because of penalties. They had a fumble inside the 10-yard line. It could have been worse. Iowa State, again, they kept trying to run the ball into a brick wall. I mean, Texas has one of the best defensive lines in the country, and
yeah,
I mean, it's
6'4", 364. Let's put a true freshman lineman on him, and let's push. I think it's Trevaden Sweat, whatever his name was. Let's just push him out of the way. I mean, it was comically like in a cartoon. They got hit, and it looked like our linemen were just flying straight back in the air, with a couple feet underneath them. Just
kind of like a Wile E. Coyote cannonball shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sweat was the cannonball pushing the coyote out of the way. But I don't know. I mean, there wasn't a lot we could really build off of. I kind of hate that touchdown by Easton Dean because it's gonna tell them, go, see, we established the run. That's why that touchdown worked.
Yeah.
No, you got him pulled in, and Rocco, like he typically does, put the ball where it needed to be.
I'm typing here in the chat. I guess I'll just say it. So had ISU won out this season, would they have made the Big 12 championship? The long answer is no, because there was tiebreakers situations in all these scenarios that Iowa State wouldn't have. They would have tied for second, but with tiebreakers, they would have been out of it. I think
we would have needed Oklahoma
or Oklahoma
their last games. And
Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
They kind of look like they're trying to versus BYU do.
Yeah.
BYU gave them a game.
Yep.
So, Jaeger, sorry we don't play in the Big Ten West where we play Northwestern and Illinois and Minnesota, who beat you this year. So, I guess, I don't know, man. I'd say I would gladly, in a heartbeat, change schedules right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Put us in the Big Ten West.
Yeah, fucking. I mean, I would almost say put me in the Big Ten West over the Sun Belt at this point. Kidding me? I don't want to go up against Liberty. So, no, I would say everyone was just taking moral victories on it. I kind of hate that nowadays, but we got 20 underclassmen. Hopefully, they're using this year, and next year we're better than we were. But I don't know. It was a tough one. Texas finally pulled one out where, the one thing that I put in here for like the good part, oddly enough, if we're going to talk about moral victories, is Brees Hall a couple years ago started the 5-star player versus 5-star culture. And Steve Sarkisian after the game was talking about, well, we talk about 5-star culture and 5-star players. Well, now we have both. An Iowa State player was talking shit about Texas, and it stuck in the craw of a coach for 2.5 years until they finally won in Ames. And he finally brings that up. Like, imagine telling yourself 10 to 15 years ago, hey, an Iowa State running back is going to talk his shit, and Texas is going to be so mad that they couldn't beat you that they finally bring it up 3 years later. I mean, that would be unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Sarkisian is he's right. Like, they had the 5-star players back then, but man, their culture sucked so bad that they had to turn that around, and they did. I mean, good for them.
All it took was to legally be able to pay all their players, and all of a sudden they could get them calmed down.
Yep.
Now, I would say if they're gonna have one last hurrah, it might as well be while they're in the Big 12 and and the credit goes to us.
Right.
So, I was really hoping it was going to be the last year was going to be like Kansas State, Baylor again, or just someone that wasn't Oklahoma and Texas. They're going to go out on top.
That's who it's going to be. Yeah.
So we'll I would say, Trent, I'm not going to forget it this week. Did you catch any of the South Dakota State games?
Damn right I did. South Dakota State ends the regular season undefeated, just as we all expected.
11-0, baby.
11-0, heading to the playoffs. Number 1 seed, obviously, in the playoffs. And we get a bye, actually. Get a bye the first week. Let's see. I'm going to bring up the FCS bracket.
I have it, kind of in the week 13 in there. But yeah, South Dakota State, they're the overall 1 seed, and they actually get a bye going into
Yeah, so they play the winner of Mercer and Gardner-Webb. South Dakota, actually, the Yotes, they actually have a bye as well. They play the winner of Sacramento State, North Dakota. So South Dakota State and South Dakota could meet in the national championship.
Really?
Yep.
That'd be interesting to see, actually.
That'd be awesome.
Sorry,
where is that game at, the national championship for that? Is it always at like the 1 seed?
No, I think it's in Frisco, Texas.
Okay.
I'm getting it pulled up here. It'll show on the it doesn't have the actual locations, but
yeah, so they play home. So like South Dakota State will play home games because they're going to be the higher seed, obviously. So they'll get to play home games all the way until the national championship in Frisco.
Okay.
I got you. So it's home games up until and that makes
sense.
So
does Idaho, South Dakota, and Montana State, do they get home games also?
If they're the higher seed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that was like 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, so they'll play their games. Their first game will be at home.
Or Montana, not Montana State, but Montana.
Yeah, because they'll play Lafayette or Delaware, who aren't even ranked. Yeah. So yeah, they'll like Montana will get a home game.
Okay.
You notice
I'm just looking at
who plays who's going to beat North Dakota State there in the first round. Scroll down, Bryant.
Yeah.
Who's beating North Dakota State there in the first round? Drake.
Oh shit, Matthew's favorite team, Drake.
Yeah, they made the FCS playoff, so a non-scholarship team can make this playoff, and Drake did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no more Matthews. No more talking shit about Drake. 8-3, they get to play North Dakota State 8-3. But I was just looking at all of these. We got North Dakota State. Oh shit, Drake's not in the Missouri Valley. They're not scholarship, but like North Dakota State, North Dakota, South Dakota, Southern Illinois, and and South Dakota State, all from the same conference. They are truly the SEC of FCS.
Missouri Valley, definitely, yeah. SEC, the FCS.
So, no, we'll have to make sure we get some money on those spreads here, because I pulled it up for South Dakota State. They have a 290 point differential. That means they are averaging winning their games by over 26 points.
Yeah, so this South Dakota State, Missouri State, 35-17. I was texting Clark because he went to Missouri State. I said, actually, this is one of the closer games South Dakota State has had.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and what was it?
18 points, yeah.
Oh, wow.
3-score game. That was the close one for them.
It's really sweating it out in the second half.
So no, good on them. Our Jackrabbits, all of ours. Now that they're number 1 seed, I'm going to claim them as well.
Oh yeah,
it's not you now.
Yeah, you need to go out and instead of Western Kentucky Hilltopper shirt, I think your next one needs to be a Jackrabbit.
I've been looking
at a Jackrabbit hat.
Yeah, I'll get you one. I go to Shields, get you one.
I'll have to get one that way. When we'll do a true FCS bracket pod next week. We'll all be Jackrabbits. At worst, I'll just buy bunny ears.
There you go.
And that'll be my attire.
Ears up, baby.
Big game. I would say we kind of talked about them a little bit. Kansas State is probably the big one that I watched. They beat Kansas. Kansas controlled that whole first half of the game, and then they just let Kansas State get back into it, and Kansas State pulled it out 31-27.
Yep.
I know Joey was insistent that Washington was going to beat Oregon State by double digits, but Oregon State, one of my original playoff teams, was they only lost by 2. It was 22-2. But man, Oregon has just been kicked in the nuts so many times this year. They lost to Washington by 2. They lost to Washington State by 3, and I'm blanking on their third loss, but it was by 3. They've lost 3 games by 8 total points.
Yeah. And Oregon State, I mean, they were favored in that game.
Yeah. I know Joey was shocked at that, but I mean, Oregon State's been it every single year, and I don't think he forgot, but a lot of people forget DJ Uiagalelei was their quarterback this year. This isn't your usual Oregon State team.
Yeah, for sure. What were you calling the Jayhawks the other day?
Smurf turkeys.
Smurf turkeys. God, I was trying to remember that, and I could not remember that the other day. The Smurf turkeys. Yes, I love that.
What did Joy say? It was the wussy pussies versus the Smurf turkeys.
Yeah,
I got to. If Iowa State wasn't losing at that point when he texted that, I would have gotten a bigger laugh out of it. But I looked at it later, it's like, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Wussy pussies.
Yeah.
So, golly, the only other thing I had, like, before we get into next week's games was, I mean, Jaden Daniels has to win Heisman, right? Guys went off for like 550 yards for another game and 8 touchdowns.
Yeah. Who's gonna win it? Besides him,
Penix.
Think so?
You think Penix will pull it out?
Yeah.
I think for him to win it,
I'm on that Washington bandwagon train right now.
Oh, yeah. You have been on it the whole time.
I think Jaden Daniels, he's actually very, very good. I will give him that, but I feel like he's almost just like, I know he's really, really good, but as of right now, I feel like they treat him a little bit more than what he is. To me, he's more of just a highlight reel. But I think it'll be I think Penix will win. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
And then
either.
I think Daniels would get second.
I think Penix will. They'll probably give it to him if he can get that team to the playoff. Whereas Daniel, his team ain't going to the playoff.
Yeah.
So I could see that.
I can definitely see either Bo or Michael, if they have a huge game versus one another in the conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them, if they went off for 5 touchdowns and they win that game, they immediately jump. Because the closest odds right now, Jaden Daniels is the betting favorite at -130, but Bo Nix is right behind it at +140. And if you want to make some money, Dave, you can get Michael Penix at +600.
Right? I have him on FanDuel from the beginning of the year.
What was he then?
When'd you get his odds out at the beginning of the year?
Let me look.
+600. That's.
Oh man, if you had the beginning of the year, you got to know that stuff with it as close as you are right now, dude.
I don't get on. I've logged on to FanDuel 4 times since then.
Oh, jeez. Well, good. That means good. You're not a degenerate, man.
I know.
I feel like sometimes it's like crack. People are just refreshing to see where they're at.
Yeah,
I forgot my password for the longest time.
Last weekend, I had to go. I mailed Ryan some stuff, some golf balls, and a golf polo or a golf hoodie, and had to wait for the post office to open. So I just drove out to the casino and put in some bets Saturday morning.
Hey, so nice. Sorry, the casino's actually working in the government, isn't it? That point?
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I say I drove to the casino. I pulled into the parking lot and put the bets in on my phone. I don't actually go into the casino at 8:00 in the morning.
Tempted by those slots when you walk by them.
Yeah, so tempted by slots.
Buffalo! Go ahead. We'll get to the next topic. I'll get you here shortly.
No, I want the number now. Damn it! No,
we ain't got that kind of time.
Good, Pat.
Yeah.
I was just gonna jump into the Iowa-Nebraska game since that's going to be on Friday.
Yeah.
Number 17 Iowa, mind you, because I'm going to go off of the playoff rankings here. 2.5-point underdog at Nebraska, over under 25.5. That was today when I double checked that. Oh, this is the oddest part. I know they always play on Friday, but playing at 11 a.m. on CBS, it seems weird. Like on Black Friday, they're playing that early in the day.
Yeah, isn't it usually like 2:30?
Yeah, like 2:30 or even a night.
An afternoon game.
Yeah. So I don't know, Dave. How are you? How you feeling? Does Iowa get to double-digit wins, or does Nebraska sneak one in here?
Iowa will get to double-digit wins. I think they're gonna run the ball pretty good again. And their defense is gonna just shut Matt Rule and them down. And I believe for once we're going to hit an over.
Ooh.
That's pretty bold. Iowa hitting an over. I don't care if it's
25. It's gonna be like a 14-13 game, something like that. I think we'll get the over.
I think the Iowa team over under is 12.5. I bet the over on that. I mean, I don't think it's going to go much past 14-15, but I think if Iowa wins this, it's going to be like a 13-7, 13-3 score. I think Iowa is going to put up some points versus Nebraska.
I think it'll be 14-13, something like that.
That would, if you have to sweat out
maybe 17-10. I'll go 17-10 actually.
17-10. Either way, if you have to sweat out a 25.5 point over, man.
Oh, it'll go over. I think it'll go over this week. I really do. I think that's just like way too low almost.
I like how before the season started, they had this big news contract that Brian Ferentz had to sign that he had to average 25 points a game. And by the end of the season, their over-unders aren't even, they're 25,
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like Brian's going to have to score 122 points this game to live up to his contract. Golly. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, bud.
I think if the defense can play like they did last week, even without Cooper DeJean, they looked really good even without him. Like, I think they could easily win, and it'll be an over. I really do.
Good. Well, let's end the year on a bang. Let's get to 27. Let's get a 30-point game in here, dude.
Oh, that might be just a little too much there.
Chubba, he'll get that for Nebraska. They both get to 30 and like 60 total points. Just insane.
That'd be a good day.
I would seriously be. Nothing is surprising anymore after this season. It really isn't. So if that happened, I wouldn't. I mean, that would be the last thing that would be what surprises me if something like that happened. But if it's like another typical game, I'm going to reference Christmas Vacation here, but if I woke up with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am now.
Yeah. Excellent poll there, dude. Iowa 10-point or Iowa State 10-point underdog at number 19 Kansas State, over under 46. Another primetime game for the Cyclones on Fox here. Trent, can we win?
I hate it
in primetime.
Hate it. Just play at 11. We can't win in primetime for some reason.
Push it to 9:15. I'll stay up for another late game. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Past primetime, we're good. Before primetime, we're good. Primetime, not good. Yeah.
But one time you can't just shit your bed on national television. They just do it.
Yep. I don't feel good about this one. I don't. Kansas State's playing good football, and I think after last week with Texas, like is emotional game, you're hyped, you're getting up for Texas. You want to send them out of here with a loss, and then you lose the game. I don't know if that rolls over to this, but I don't like this. I think I don't. Beating Kansas State is like, it's great because they're kind of, they're our rival, even though they don't think they're a rival, but it is. I mean, it's Farmegeddon. I think Kansas State might cover this 10.
Oh, I was going to say, I with Matt Campbell, at least typically, I mean, we held the number 7 team in the country to only 10 points, 26-16. We covered a 10-point spread there.
Yeah.
I mean, the toughest thing on this one, obviously, is we're going to be playing at Kansas State. I think we cover it, man, but with how our defense could not contain, like, just running the actual contain of that Jason Bean for quarterback for Kansas.
Yep.
How we couldn't do that at home when we had all the momentum and stuff around us. I mean, Kansas State, I think they have like a really outside chance of getting to the championship game, don't they?
Yeah.
For the Big 12.
Yeah.
I would say that they're going to be playing motivated.
Yeah.
So,
and it would be in this spot. It'd be just like Iowa State to just lay a giant turd out there on the 50-yard line.
Playing a purple team in the last week of the year, it didn't work out for us last year.
You got to remember,
pussies.
I was at the game when Paul Rhodes didn't take a knee. Like, I've seen this before. Like,
yep.
I was there in Manhattan when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh.
Well, I'd say it sounds like you and Yeager are on the same page. Says K-State's winning by 20.
No, yeah.
That wouldn't shock me.
I wouldn't me either. Like I said, I don't like this 10 points. I don't.
No, it sounds bad. I feel like we hit the 6-win mark, and they'll never admit it, but I felt like they're like, we did better than what we expected. We're kind of good at
We're going to a bowl. Yeah.
We're ready to see Memphis in the Liberty Bowl, baby.
Oh, yeah. We're going to drink Beale Street out of Busch Light again.
Oh, yeah. Do you think they'd let us wear the matches that says we should wear the black uniforms? Do you think they'll let us wear those on the road?
They should.
God, I was like, it's funny when we were like looking back at it now. It's like we're 9-1 or 9-0 at some point in these uniforms. How do we keep winning? It's like, well, you when you have your all-time best quarterback and running back in your school history playing at once, you tend to do pretty good with any combo of jerseys.
Yeah, you got how many NFL players on that team?
Yeah. Dave, by the way, Dave just finally got logged into his DraftKings. $20 bet at plus 1,200 odds for Phoenix.
Hope it hits.
If Jaden Daniels isn't going to win me my Heisman pool, I'm gonna be pulling for Phoenix here.
FanDuel, not DraftKings.
Or that don't matter, Dave.
I'm not that fancy. I can't get into DraftKings. DraftKings is for fancy people.
We aren't sponsored by either one, Dave. It don't matter.
What do you with is it FanDuel? Are you pinky up while you're plus 300? Yeah.
No, on FanDuel it's a simplified version. I don't have to do a lot of math to figure out what I'm doing. Boom.
I do like FanDuel. It's easy to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say I'm not sitting here on Caesars like having to do algebra before I put in a bet. It's plus 1,400, $5. Send it. Take my money. Thank you, William.
Bryant has to get his TI 11 out to figure out his bets.
Yeah,
that, and he's got his Busch Light or whatever, his Ames lager with the pinky in the air, drinking out of the mug on the Caesars.
Here's my TI calculator, and I go, calculator, put in my winnings from the last 2 months of college football betting. Fucking down to the ground, and then an immediate I put 150 in. Just terrible. By the way, if you want to know why the Jayhawks lost last night, it's because I put them to spread 4 points versus Marquette. That's why they lost by 14. So
hey, you keep doing that. You keep putting money on them.
Saying.
What were they again?
They were 4-point favorites.
No, the what?
Oh, Smurf turkeys.
Smurf turkeys. I'm never gonna remember that. Dang it.
The Smurf
blue
turkeys.
It's a blue hawk that looks like a turkey.
Yeah.
Smurf turkey.
Or I've seen jocks a lot lately. For Jayhawks, just jocks.
Mm-hmm. I like the Smurf turkeys.
The Smurf turkeys. I swear, if I've bet on them the last 5 times, they've lost 3 of the games just straight up. I can never, because I don't want to religiously bet Kansas, but it's just like, how do I lose money on like one of the most consistent teams in the country?
America thanks you.
I was.
You should go to a game in Hilton with a big old Smurf turkey when they play. A big old sign that says, "Hey, Smurf turkeys."
Smurf turkeys.
I'm sure what's his name that loves being in Hilton on ESPN. He'll be there. They'll probably put the camera right on you.
Yeah, Smurf TV. I would feel like I'd be a billboard. I'd be big enough where they'd be able to catch what my shirt said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they don't ask me to be if you ever been to Hilton, they have someone like take one of the Iowa State flags and they do a whole lap around Hilton.
Yep.
As long as they don't ask me to do that,
it's got to be you.
I would go to an Iowa State basketball game to see Bryant run around the court with a Smurf turkey flag.
Unless they do an 8-minute rendition of the school song, I don't think I'm making it around. Because like the goal is you got to do it while they're playing the Iowa State school song. I ain't making that shit.
They have to play Juicy Wiggle twice.
Yeah, I'll just hand it off like a fucking baton.
It's a relay. Get a couple people up there.
Yeah, I'll find another fat guy. I'll just they won't know the difference at that point. It's just someone that's out of shape. We're happy that he's running. They'll be good. So, there weren't too many big like top 20. I say big games. I'm just the top 25 matchups. The only two are going to be the Civil War with Oregon State and Oregon at Oregon, and then Ohio State at Michigan for the big game. I mean, obviously, the biggest game is Ohio State, Michigan. That's dictating a playoff.
Yeah, for sure. The Apple Cup's this weekend too.
Oh yeah, Apple Cup. That's not going to be a guarantee. I mean, if Washington State is going to get up for any game this year, and they still have their starting Cam Ward, and that coach is, I'm not going to say great, but he had them in a spot where they were ranked earlier in the year. I mean, if there's ever a game they're going to get up for. They're not going to have an emotional hang up like we have versus Kansas. It's going to be versus Washington.
Yeah. Do you listen to a guy named Chris?
No.
So they had mentioned that, they're obviously not going to be in the same conference anymore, but they renewed that. So they're going to continue playing, which
5 more years, I think.
Good for them.
It was good.
Well, I mean, it's such a PR win for Washington. It's like, what's it going to hurt? Now you have, if you're Washington, you kind of have the easy in-state school. You don't even have to travel across the country like you just did with it was Wazoo that was going to and from Wisconsin with a home and home. But it's such an easy win, man. Not only just I think on the field, but a win for the community. The Pac-2 at this point. I mean, I don't even know what they're going to do with their settlement because they won all the conference assets. I mean, I guess you could kind of look at it as they scheduled a Mountain West team, frankly.
Yeah.
The best Mountain West team.
Yep.
So Matthews, it can be done. Your school just doesn't want to lose to Oklahoma State again in the future. So
I like how Oklahoma is like all butthurt about Oklahoma State doesn't want to play. It's like, you guys left for the SEC. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to blame Oklahoma State? Easy.
After that ass whooping by those Cowboys.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to play them again either.
That was the shittiest thing that could have happened. A rivalry they won like 95% of the time. You lose the last one, and now the Oklahoma State says, I'm taking my ball and going home. Yeah. Now they never want to play again. Oh, shit. Oh, man, he's just rolling his eyes there. Oh, shit. I mean, I guess, honestly, I'm not a huge Big Ten, but it'll be interesting. I think if I have to choose what I want to see in the playoffs, I think you got to go Michigan winning this. Or I'm sorry, you got to go I don't know. Do you want Michigan or do you want Ohio State to win this one?
I want Michigan.
Do you want to chop off your right arm or your left arm? I mean, come on.
I
want Michigan to win because right now I still have 3. Nope. Texts. Right now I still have 3 possibilities in our beginning of the season college football playoff predictions. Mm-hmm. So right now I want Michigan to win.
Michigan, Texas,
Georgia, and USC I picked, and they're out. So
I got
USC's not going to sneak in.
No.
I mean, really, I got Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State. So Clemson's really my only one that's out right now. And, how we talked about it earlier, how the playoff committee loves the SEC. I could get 3 out of 4 in.
They love them. Yeah. I think mine's 2? I had Penn State and Oregon State. Those teams have combined. Their 5 losses are by like 25 to 30 points. It's like, I mean, they're playing super close games, but close doesn't get you into the playoffs, man. But I think the only way that I would honestly kind of be happy, and that shows you how bad Michigan fucked up, is I want Ohio State to win, simply because I think that's the better matchup for Iowa if we were going to have the crazy scenario where Iowa's going to beat someone, because Ohio State's offense hasn't been super stellar. You look at the Notre Dame game, you look at like the Penn State game, you look at these games where we thought Marvin Harrison was going to have 30 touchdowns this year, and he hasn't been as big as what he wanted. But because my worry is if Michigan wins this, they've won their 2 tough games. They're going to play Iowa, and I think they're a better matchup to beat Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
But then the committee can go, Ohio State only loss was a tough at Michigan game, especially if it's close. You could, me as a hater, that would be the one way the Big Ten could sneak 2 teams in. I'd prefer to see Ohio State get in and with Michigan stuff be kicked out. But that's just because I would hate to see. Honestly, I would hate to see Michigan succeeding.
Yeah. If they do, I mean, they got to have Connor Stallions there just for. I mean, he got him there.
Get CS in there.
Get him on the sideline. He got you to playoff.
I mean, honestly, in this game, it's Ohio State, Michigan. They've had their game plans. Harbaugh's coaching all week. Do you think it makes any difference if he's on the side? Like these last couple games, it's been weird that they've really just heavily relied on the run. But I almost wonder if it's like, because J.J. McCarthy, he's okay, but like I think it's more like, I don't know if they trusted him late in those games to make the accurate passes.
Yeah, and like you said, Harbaugh's making that game plan. He's with the team 6 out of the 7 days of the week. Like they're at practice. He's only just not with them during the game. So he's making the game plan. They just got to go execute it.
Now, here's the hard-hitting question Matthews wants us to ask. Does Iowa score more than 5 points against either one of those teams?
Iowa's offense is rolling right now. They're cooking. All right. They might score 6.
I mean, touchdown. They're straight up running the score up on Rutgers, 22 unanswered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. If I want to be like put the cap, really, tough thought cap on, I don't know how. I think Iowa would literally only have a chance versus Ohio State. They've just been so sluggish on offense that I think your defense, even without Cooper DeJean, could have a matchup. But I think, I don't know, Marvin would still have a heyday because you don't have your number one DB.
I think without Cooper DeJean, Castro could do what he needs to do, but not like DeJean would be able to do.
Yeah. DeJean in there, I think you'd have a legitimate, not out of the realm chance of beating without him, and not with him being your punt returner too. Does he do kick returns too?
I think he's one of the 2.
You really wouldn't know until last week's Cooper DeJean's been the only one.
Yeah. Also, and actually, Matthews brings up a good point. Do you know, is Bryant coaching the bowl game?
I think he gets to finish the whole season out, including bowl game.
Yeah, I was assuming he would have. I mean, I know we all know he's done.
That's what I thought it was.
I don't think it's like he's fired and he's gone at the end of the season.
Yeah,
like into the regular season, that is. So, anything else?
Yeah, he's going to remain on staff until then.
Good. Anything else college football you guys wanted to cover? I would say that's all I had. I wanted to do basketball real quick. But.
Yeah, can we get to our team that actually wins by 55?
Yeah, a team that we respect that doesn't score a lot but has very good defense.
Yeah.
The Iowa State Cyclone basketball team.
Yeah.
I do think that it's kind of funny is we have been shitting on Iowa. Like when you look at last year, it's like we shit on Iowa. It's like your team doesn't score any points and all you know is defense. And then we get to basketball season. It's like that's a hard fought team that tough as nails defense, and it doesn't matter if we only score 42 points on offense. You know, it's a complete flipping of the script in basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Iowa State 4-0. I would say we're I like to put in the number of votes in there. We're 32nd technically right now. I think we're only a couple ahead of like Drake right now. But we're going into the ESPN Events Invitational, where we're gonna at least play VCU for Thursday here.
Yep, on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I would say on Thanksgiving we'll play the winner of Boise, or I guess
the winner or loser, depending on what we do.
Yeah, of Boise State, Virginia Tech here.
Yep.
The other teams in the tournament: Butler, Florida Atlantic, top 10 in the country.
Yep.
Texas A&M and Penn State. I mean, I put in money. I think I at plus 375 or plus 500. It was decent odds, but I put in money for Iowa State to win that tournament here. I think, you know, it'll be interesting to see us play someone in the top 250 teams. But I mean, I know we're getting shit on for the schedule, but it's like we're playing the bottom 100 teams of the country, but we're averaging winning by 45 points. I mean, that's what you expect to do against those teams.
Yeah, but Iowa State won by 55 the other day.
Yeah, so I would say the only game I did not bet, or I missed a bet on, was I think the first game we didn't cover because it was like 32 and it was 30 points. It was something that I was off by 2. Otherwise, I ran out of money, couldn't bet, and we've covered by miles on the other 3 games. So,
Hassan Ward, he's probably going to be out for the rest of the non-con.
They say that right now. It's probably going longer, dude.
Yeah, didn't he like break his foot?
Yeah.
So is Omaha Blue going to start now? I mean, he had a good game the other day.
Give me a second. I'm pulling up the Ken Palm rankings because the Ken Palm will also
What's the guy's
tell you
name?
the lineup.
Who?
The guy that you just said?
Hassan Ward. Omaha Blue.
Interesting.
No,
never heard of him.
They'll start.
McDonald's All-American. McDonald's All-American, the highest recruited basketball player ever to go to Iowa State.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Dude's an NBA guy. Like he's gonna be good. He's pretty raw right now. He flies around, gets a lot of fouls because he plays so aggressive. But I think once he figures out the big,
I haven't really heard much of.
Yeah,
I don't really pay that super close attention to basketball to know who he is.
Yeah, once he figures
out,
when
he said his name, that's why I was like, "What are you saying?"
Yeah, once he figures out the college game, he's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. It looks like our lineup's probably going to be Taman Lipsey, Curtis Jones, Milan Momcilovic, Trey King, and then Robert Jones.
Okay,
fill in for him.
Yeah,
I know they talked about Omaha. Like some people are saying Omaha should just be the 5. Honestly, like with Rob Jones coming back, as much shit as we gave him last year, because sometimes he just has that. He's so athletic, but then he makes the goofiest fucking decisions out there. I mean, I think you start the senior, the guy who's started enough games and has played in the Big 12, and you just get through the rest of the non-con.
Yeah, so Rob Jones, I know Iowa State hasn't played anybody yet, but you can definitely tell like he's more under control. Like he makes more shots. I think he's a better player this year.
Yeah. No, I've the little bit that I've watched, because like, sorry, sometimes at some point when you're beating a team by 25 plus, like you're like, I don't need to watch this. Where, you know, I could just watch practice at this point is what we're doing. But yeah, Robert he's still had a couple moments, but so much more under control. And who is it? That I think it's Curtis Jones that's been hitting the threes, hasn't it been?
Yeah.
I mean, it's feeling like we got a healthy balance this year. I was listening to the Cyclone Fanatics, and they're talking about like when we're watching Hoy ball, we were thinking like everyone should just be a shooter. At this point, if we can just have a consistent, I feel like we have more shooters compared to last year.
Mm-hmm.
If we can just keep that up this year, I'm not going to expect us to be winning 45 points a game every game. But enough people have played, enough people have had kind of their game so far with Milan and Oh, I'm sorry, I'm blanking here, but Lipsy, Jesus. But plenty of people have proved they can be the leading scorer, that they can step up. So this will be a good challenge, especially if we can get to the finals. And I'm going to assume FAU is going to be on the other side of the bracket here with us. I'm feeling pretty confident we can actually win this whole thing.
Yep, I like that.
So, and actually that's going to be the only thing until we record next week. So I don't know. Everyone cheer for Iowa State so I can win some money on my ESPN Invitational bet, I guess. Iowa, on the other hand, they're going to be playing. Let me get this pulled up. The Ratty Children's Invitational. They're going to be playing Oklahoma in their first game, and then their other two, it's going to be USC and Seton Hall. Honestly, 4 pretty solid teams. I'd say Iowa might be able to play Bronny on in this tournament here.
Isn't Bronny's not playing, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot it. He's had his heart issue.
Yeah.
Well, Bronny will be there, and people will be watching because of Bronny Jr., even if he's on the bench. So
I'll be watching watch the Hawkeyes.
The football? Are you talking about just the football game?
No, I'm talking about the basketball game against USC.
Okay.
I don't give two shits about Bronny. I don't care anything about him or his dad.
They're tomorrow too, 2:00 on Fox Sports 1 on Thanksgiving. Yep.
I don't know. OU, I really haven't watched any this year. I really don't know if where they're at in the rankings. To be honest, the way when I watched Iowa playing Creighton though, with their offense, they kept up with Creighton for a good chunk of the game.
Yep.
If you can get on that hot streak like you did, I mean, I think. I mean, I think right now it's a pick. I chose Iowa to win that game because if you're not playing one of the top 10 teams in the country, if you have that fast of an offense, you can usually outscore whoever the hell else you're playing.
Yeah. Creighton, the top 8 team, they're really good.
I like that Peyton Sanford. Yep.
Sanford.
I like him. I think he plays pretty good. He's a pretty good guy.
I'd say this is going to be.
Okay, so since we're on the Iowa and Big Ten type basketball stuff right now,
mm-hmm.
The other night I watched, I was at Mitch Stewart's and we watched, before we watched Fargo last night, that Eddie, I can't
really for Purdue.
Yeah, he's just a big big loaf that just takes up space. But he reminded me of Adam Woodbury, the 7'1" center that Iowa had. That hey, get out of my way and poke you, did a Three Stooges move and would poke you in the eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this Edie never really poked anybody in the eye, but God, they played so similar. They're just big old loafs in the middle of the lane, just taking up space. And everyone's praising this Eddie guy. I didn't it's his height. That's the only thing that's, to me, that gives him advantage. I mean, if you're 7'4", I would expect you to be able to just dunk on whoever, rebound over whoever. But there's a lot of people that give up a really good fight on him.
Did you see their first game when they played Samford for the tip-off? It was Edie, and then they sent out a 5'8" point guard to do the jump ball against him.
That's funny.
Yeah, no offense. It's you might as well. What are you? You're gonna win your Samford, man.
Yeah. What was the score of that game? 98-45. Yeah, so they only lost by 53.
Pulling up, golly. Edie's been going off though.
That Marquette game last night was a 3-point game. That was a good game. Man, Purdue's played a tough schedule. They've played number 11 Gonzaga, number 7 Tennessee, number 4 Marquette in a row.
Yeah, and in the game before that was Xavier. They're top 30 in Ken Pom.
Yeah.
But but I agree, Dylan. It's when you're 7'4", you should be putting up let's see, Edie's done 28, 25, 23, 28. But the one thing is he's not fouling out. He's not putting himself in that trouble this year.
Yep.
last night he did. Before Fargo, before Fargo started, he was at 4 fouls with 9 minutes left in the second half.
Oh, versus Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his worst game of the stretch. Only got 23 points. 23
when you're that tall, I watched 2 of his fouls. When you're that tall, why are you going like this on people? Why are you?
The leaning over.
Yeah, I've never understood that. I don't know, but I just thought it was funny. I figured I'd mention that since we saw that in the agenda about basketball. And
well, yeah. Well, why not? I'd say we got to make fun of people that would easily dunk the shit out of the ball over us.
Oh yeah.
At what point do you think though, when you're getting taller like that, you're like, all right, 6 foot, cool. 6'6", even cooler. And then eventually you get to 7 foot. It's like, okay, we can stop this now. And you get to 7'4". I mean, you just start gargantuan. I would trade it in a heartbeat, by the way. I'm not saying I ever wouldn't, but it's got to get old bending over underneath every single door you walk through.
I think getting into a vehicle would be the worst part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Finding a vehicle that could make your legs comfortable. Yeah, right.
You just take the front seat out of a Chevy Cruze and you just sit in the back seat.
And then your arms are long enough, you can still hit the middle shift there too, the console.
Exactly. I don't know. I wish my problems in life were, man, I wish I wasn't 7'4" in my life. Life would be pretty damn good at that point. I don't know. Honestly, looking at those 4 teams, though, I mean, USC, I always feel like is going to be have those athletes. I don't see why Iowa couldn't win that whole thing. I mean, Seton Hall, I know they're Big East, but I think Iowa's just got a fast enough offense and they got good enough athletes where they should be able to win that one, no problem.
Yep. I'm probably behind my times in college basketball, but is Tim Floyd still at USC?
No.
No.
I don't believe so.
Hasn't been for a while. Yeah.
That's the last time I ever knew that he was coaching, so that's why I just had to ask. I didn't know if he even coaches anymore. I did see a picture on Twitter of Eustace. Does he have a Mike Gundy mullet right now?
Yeah, he's got long white hair. Brent Bloom and Chris Williams did a interview with him this week. I was listening to it on my way home, actually. He hasn't been at USC since 2009.
Wow. That's what I was laughing about over here. It's I was I know it's been a while, but I'm not going to speak until 2000. He had an 8-year
14 years ago. Wow. I am behind the times.
Yeah. He went to UTEP for 8 seasons after that. He hasn't coached since 2017.
Yeah. He hasn't been there since Reggie Bush has been there.
I don't know.
Oh shit, that's funny, man.
I pay attention to 2 teams in basketball, and that's about it. So, and when I say pay attention, I watch whenever I feel like it, not even religiously.
John Wooden is not at UCLA anymore.
Oh, really? Okay.
Damn it! I was gonna say Duke is one of your teams. Otherwise, I was like, by the way, in all seriousness, Coach K is not at Duke anymore. Yeah. That was gonna be the big reveal I was about to give.
Yeah, Duke and Iowa. That's who I pay attention to the most.
Roy Williams isn't at UNC anymore.
Nope.
I'm just gonna keep breaking 3-year-old news to you from across college basketball. I'm gonna find some stat and you're just gonna blow your mind.
Kim Mulkey not at Baylor anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
You need to just save these for every episode. Okay, Dave, we're getting to basketball now. Yeah. This coach is not here anymore, and I can say, all right, I'm up to times. I know McDermott or whatever his name is. That was
Fred Hoiberg. Right, left Iowa State for the Bulls.
Yeah, McDermott.
Now he's at Nebraska.
He's at McDermott.
No, but he's at Creighton still. Yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say he's still there. Hoiberg's at the Huskers, right?
Yeah. McDermott's crazy, man. Great coach. He was a great coach in the Missouri Valley, and then Creighton, and then he didn't do much at Iowa State like that. Yep.
He got a couple decent recruits.
Yeah, but the Power 5, man, he just didn't translate.
I don't know how to explain it. Like, same thing with Steve Prohm. It's like when you have these younger guys that know they have to hone their craft in order to make it, I feel like you can run a more, I guess I wouldn't say like sophisticated. I feel like you have to have a certain caliber of player that's bought into the system compared to when you get to, I'm not saying Iowa State at the time was at any higher above level, but like when you get into a certain level of player like Craig Brackens and some of these, they're not going to buy into a system when it's like, I have the God-given ability, I'm just going to play basketball.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the one thing I try and tell myself when I go to sleep at night is, how could both of them have failed so much? Even Steve Prohm, like, look at all the actual NBA athletes he brought in and just couldn't get the Elite Eight, Final Four championship results.
Tyrese Halliburton. Dude could be the MVP of the NBA this year.
I need to put in money on that to go along with my Brock Purdy MVP.
Yeah, parlay that.
I'm gonna keep speaking in the stratosphere about his perfect game, last one since Joe Montana. We need to get him back in the MVP conversation.
Yep.
I need to get $200.
Yep. Need it.
So, all right. You guys. The only thing I was going to mention as well. I really don't have I don't have all the information for me. Did you see that 23-year-old coach for North Carolina field hockey?
Yeah. I just saw it.
They've been doing some stories about her, and it just made me spark. I was like, man, we were talking about like jokingly, Caitlin Clark should do that. This girl won 4 national championships. And I guess like in field hockey, there isn't professional field hockey, league that she could go to. But immediately coming back and then winning another national championship at 23 years old, that's fucking incredible, dude.
Yeah. So she won the 4 national championships, and then their coach is done, so they gave her the job.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today. I thought that was pretty cool. I looked up Fran McCafferty's record, and his record surprises the crap out of me. One, he's been there since 2010. I thought it was like 2013, but
wow.
Yeah.
But he's 261 and 76 overall. I think how I read it at Iowa, or not at Iowa, but overall, but 126 and 118 in conference record stuff.
So really? Over 500. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that, but then again, you don't stay if you're continuously under 500. Say he was going to be under 500, you're not going to stay at a university for over 10 years. Like, they're not going to keep you around for 14 years or whatever it would be.
Yeah, so those are the Iowa records. So he's got a .597 winning percentage throughout regular season, and the conference record is .516. So both over 500, and his overall record is over 500 too.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting that I thought he started like in 2013. I didn't realize it was 2010.
Yeah, like I said, they ain't going to keep you around for 14 seasons if you're not winning games and over 500. So makes sense. I never really thought of it that way too. I would have said he was under 500.
But like, it kind of it goes back to how you guys were saying, like how Creighton, like McDermott at the Missouri Valley did really well, and then at Big 12, whatever, and then now he's at Creighton and he's doing really well with them, and they're a big East school now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So like
right on the
he went to
eastern side of the country.
He went to another basketball, or he went from Missouri Valley mid-major to a Power 5 to like a really well-known basketball conference, and is able to do what he's doing. And it's just kind of odd how that, like you said, that middle ground of being get past there. But then you look at Fran, who's been in Iowa for now 14 seasons, that you're staying right above 500 all the time. And then at Siena, had them, a mid-major school, into pretty decent territory. So it's just kind of interesting how different coaches can adapt to different conferences and different styles of,
I know we joke about it like with the Iowa stuff. He has never been out of the round of 32 at any of his stops. Like he made it a couple rounds in the NIT runner up with Iowa back in 2012. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some of his stats here. He's either been playing college basketball, he played at Wake Forest and Penn, or been coaching college basketball at some level since 1977.
Wow.
That is insane. So, no, and honestly, if you're Iowa, you're not going to get – I don't think you're going to get much better right now. There's not the – like, if Fred Hoiberg wouldn't even be better. But, like, there isn't that guy. It's like, Tim Alford or whoever else that could come back to Iowa. I mean, he's got you consistently winning, roughly 20 games for the last decade. I mean, you had one slip up in 2017, but like, no, he's done a great job. It's easy as Iowa State fans, to joke about it when we snuck into the Sweet 16 a couple years ago. And I mean, it's lucky at that point, but he's been doing an incredible job there. I'm like you said, it's starting to dawn on me. He's been there since 2010. That amazing.
I thought it was 2000. I really thought it was like 10 years. Like I really thought it was like 2013 is when he got there. I didn't realize it's been that long until I read that today or just now.
Well, tomorrow, Dave, when you're eating your mashed potatoes and turkey and everything, you're going to give thanks to McCaffrey for as good of a job as he's done for Iowa basketball, aren't you?
I might.
You can turn over to Fox Sports 1 and watch the game.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So, well, I would say, honestly, guys, you want to wrap it up here?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. We do appreciate everyone that's been joining us live here. It always makes these a little more fun, throwing in some hypotheticals and answer questions and stuff. But if you do want to listen to us, just make sure you follow Pulse of the Heartland on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, at Heartland Pulse on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Just like we've told you, keep sharing it. Let people know to join in. We do it at least amateur hour every Wednesday at 9 p.m. We do our fun cast typically Mondays at 9 p.m. But like I said, keep spreading the word. We do appreciate you joining.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thanks.